All right, go ahead, Tom.
All right, greetings, everyone. Welcome to AARP Indiana's second virtual event in the series known as Caregivers Weekly. My name is Tom Harris, and I'm a member of the Indianapolis volunteer team. I'm joined today by our two directors of community engagement, Emily Gorman and Addison Pollock. Addison and Emily, how are you today?
We're doing well. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing fine. I'm so glad we could come together today for this exciting event. As a reminder, the Caregiver Weekly series will feature a live interview style video with caregiving experts from across the state each week in November, as you may know, is National Family Caregiving Week. All month, we will cover a slew of topics related to one of the most important jobs that a person can have. That is caring for a loved one, whether a family member, a friend, a neighbor, and ensuring their needs are met. Today, we will hear from representatives from two of Indiana's 16 area agencies on aging. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly. Todd Honeycutt with Aging and In-Home Services of Northwest Indiana, Inc., and Dustin Ziegler with CICOA Aging and Home Solutions. Before I hand it over to Emily and Addison to introduce our first guest, I want to remind our live viewers that you can ask questions. Please put your questions in the field below, and we will do our best to address it during the program. Without further delay, I want to hand it over to Emily and Addison. Take it off, kid.
We appreciate it, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
That was awesome. Thank you for the intro. Um, as Tom said, without further ado, we're gonna kick off this week's Caregiver Weekly. We're gonna bring on Todd Honeycutt with who is the Family Caregiver Program Manager at Aging and In-Home Services of Northeast Indiana. So, just a little bit about Todd. In his role, he assists caregivers with accessing services to ensure that their loved ones can remain in the home setting as long as possible and as safely as possible. He believes that assisting caregivers with balancing caregiving needs and their own personal and emotional needs is key to ensuring a longer and more enjoyable life for both the caregiver and their loved one. Um, Todd, how are you today? Thanks for being here.
I'm great. Thank you, Addison and Emily.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being our first area agency on aging guest. So I think a lot of people out there might not know about what an area agency on aging is. So
Sure.
can you tell us a little bit more about aging and in-home services of Northeast Indiana, like the baseline stuff, and then a little bit more details about what makes you unique, and then a little bit more about your role there.
Yeah, so Aging and In-Home Services of Northeast Indiana is the area agency on aging for LaGrange, Steuben, Whitley, Huntington, DeKalb, Noble, Allen, Wells, and Adams counties. So we cover the 9 northeastern counties of Indiana, and there are like we said in the intro, that there are 16 area agencies on aging in Indiana. And then further out, there are area agencies on aging everywhere in the United States. So no matter where you are, or if you have a loved one in another state, they're covered by an area agency on aging. And the way I like to explain that concept of an area agency on aging is that we are the workers that are going to help people stay in the home home and community-based settings act and help people access funding streams so that they can remain in the home through funding streams like Medicaid or state-specific programs. In Indiana, we have the Choice Program, which is a great program that can assist people that aren't eligible for Medicaid and get some really good services in the home to avoid nursing home placement. We have funding through the Older Americans Act, Title III funding, which has been around for years and years and requires no income and asset information at all. You could have as much money as you can imagine and still qualify for some of these programs. So we are the managers of those funding streams. We are qualified to provide those funding to families so that they can access services like in-home care, assisted livings, supplies like incontinence supplies, which can be extremely expensive and can price someone right out of being able to provide in-home care, nutritional drinks, home modifications. If there's a way to keep someone in the home safer longer, then we likely can help provide that service.
Wonderful. Thanks for that answer. The next question we had for you is, what would you say is the best way for those of us who are planning to be caregivers or might already be caregivers to find out what resources are available to them from their local AAA agency?
Okay, so the AAAs in Indiana have resource centers that you can call in and get that just kind of maybe a quick overview of the different programs before you even start applying. And so let's say that you're a caregiver of someone who had a stroke, and you know that you're not going to be able to get them even into the home or something, like, hey, we need a ramp, or I need to go to work and start working. You bring those concerns to us with that phone call, and we can help you figure out the best way to handle this, give you referrals to places that might be able to build the ramp, give you referrals to places that may be able to do a wheelchair transport, things that are going to be really probably difficult for you to figure out just one by one. We are like a one-stop shop for a caregiver that's going to do some caregiving or just starting off their caregiving or unsure what services they qualify for. So not only can we give those like community resource connections, we can help you qualify and see what long-term solutions we can come up with as well, like getting in-home care for a loved one.
That's super helpful. So Todd, you talked a lot about a lot of the different services and resources that you provide. And you just touched on case management. So like if someone comes in with like a particular need or a particular set of needs, can you kind of walk us through what that case management process looks like? Like how do folks typically get in touch with your area agency on aging, and then how does the process begin?
Okay, so a lot of people get in touch with us just by word of mouth and knowing someone else that received help from us, or they start calling around, ask their doctor, maybe the hospital refers them, referrals like that. So that's how they initially get in contact with us. And then what we do from there is we will gather information on that person's health history, their ability to complete what we call activities of daily living, things such as bathing, dressing, toileting, walking. So those types of needs from an individual will determine whether or not they would qualify. Some of those programs not only require those needs, they may require you to provide income and assets. Don't let that scare you. You still may qualify for other programs, and you don't have to be qualified through you don't have to qualify for Medicaid through conventional ways necessarily. You can qualify for our services through other means as well. So you may be able to have a higher income, a higher asset threshold, and still qualify for services. So we would do an assessment, dive into the health history, get information possibly from other service providers. And then we would set up a person-centered service plan. So we are going to want to know what is going to help you the most. What is going to help you as a caregiver the most? What is going to help your loved one the most? What is going to help the family the most? We want to personalize those services to you and provide you with the ability to get those services in your home, help them possibly get funded, and make a long-term plan. So this isn't something that we want to do just for a few months. We want this to last forever. We want to support you throughout the process.
That's amazing. Thanks for that.
And just touching off some of the things that you have already mentioned, I wondered if you could give us any more information about if there are any services that you provide for home modification, or, you know, tips and tricks for making the home a safe space for somebody as a caregiver, if you were, you know, looking for ways to make your home safer for someone you're caring for.
Okay, so a couple of things with that is that a lot of people, when they're coming home, when they're coming home from a hospital, or they've had a fall, or there is some change in their need, they may qualify for programs that they're not aware of, such as occupational therapy assessments, either in the home or through in Fort Wayne, we have a falls clinic where if you've had a fall or you're high risk of fall, you can get referred there, and they will come out and evaluate your home and make sure that it is safe for you. So they're going to be looking at things like, are there throw rugs? Are there trip hazards? Is the lighting good? Are there grab bars near the toilet? Are there grab bars in the shower? We know that the bathrooms are high risk fall areas, right? So we want to make sure that someone's able to, you know, secure themselves before they're moving or pivoting. We have family caregiver programs where if you're caring for someone who has an activity of daily living need, we are able to provide a small budget so that they can get some grab bars in their home possibly, or get some help in the home to help with those transfers and high risk times like bathing and dressing to help keep the homes safe. Our Medicaid waiver program does have an allowance for those more major modifications like bath remodels and stuff, and vehicle modifications as well.
That's super helpful. Thanks for that, Todd. I know it seems like we just started, but we're actually at our last question. So yeah, time just flies by.
Gosh, I guess I'm gabbier than I thought.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But I do have one last question for you. Sure. Well, maybe 1.5 questions.
Okay.
So, you know, what are some of the most like in demand, or maybe some of the most popular or most important, however you want to kind of phrase it or frame it, services and resources that you provide that you would say, like, please get in touch with us for this particular set of services?
Okay. I would say if you're providing 24/7 care, you're the sole caregiver and you're not getting a break, you are doing yourself a disservice for not calling us. We have to know about that. We want to know about that. We want to support you with that. If you're taking care of someone with dementia and they're starting to need more and more care, call us now so that we can help you get set up with that. That is going to be a road that we want to travel with you. We want to be able to provide you services in the home. We want to provide you services, maybe at an adult day service, so your loved one can go there and you can get regular breaks. But please take care of yourself when you're doing this long-term caregiving. You'll be doing yourself a favor and you're doing your loved one a favor as well.
That's so helpful. Thank you for that. And do you want to plug where folks, if they're living in the northeastern part of the state, where they can find more information?
Yeah, sure. agingihs.org. So agingihs.org, or call 745-1200 and leave a message, or you'll get a live person and we'll walk you through the process to give you as much help as we can.
Awesome. Todd, we can't thank you enough for being here today.
Oh, I'm glad I was here. Please invite me back if you'd like. I'd love to keep the word out and help as many caregivers as we can.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks, Todd.
You're welcome.
All right. Appreciate it. And now we have our second guest today, Dustin Ziegler with SACOA, Aging and In-Home Solutions. He's the Vice President of Clinical Integration and Engagement. He leads numerous programs that optimize the reach and impact of SACOA services and resources. He came to SACOA in 2016 from the Alzheimer's Association of the Greater Indiana chapter, who we spoke with the Alzheimer's Association recently on a bonus episode of Caregiver Weekly, so keep an eye out for that if you haven't already seen it. Dustin received his gerontology, health, and aging education from Indiana University. All right, go Hoosiers. He was also the 2019 Indiana University School of Medicine Bowen Center Award recipient in the state of Indiana for his leadership in advancing health, innovation, and policy through the Dementia Friends Indiana movement. So let's bring Dustin on if we have him. Hey, Dustin, how are you?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This is Emily Gorman, our other director of community engagement. Dustin, if you don't mind, we're just going to jump right into some questions. Sure. That works. All right. Sure. So we heard from Todd Honeycutt with Aging and In-Home Services of Northeast Indiana. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes SACOA unique and the services you provide?
Sure. Yeah, we're similar in that we're an area agency on aging, similar to where Todd's from in Northeast Indiana. We serve Marion County and the surrounding counties. Our overall aim is to simply keep people in their homes for as long as possible who otherwise might be at risk for nursing home placement. So we provide an array of services, numerous service lines that range from care management to transportation, nutrition, caregiver support. But, the bottom line is we're kind of, I know Todd mentioned it, and I'll say it too, we're kind of a one-stop shop for whatever somebody's looking for. If we as SACOA cannot provide it ourselves, we will connect you to the resources in the communities who can. We're also the largest area agency on aging in Indiana. A lot of that has to do with just being in central Indiana. The population density is much higher. So there's 15 area agencies on aging in Indiana serving 16 areas. But SACOA serves about 25% of the whole population. So we are very large and continue to grow rapidly, and which is a reflection of the need to and the aging population.
Yeah, certainly. Definitely.
That's amazing. And then if somebody was actively looking for services to help them as a caregiver themselves, is it best for them, are there resources on your website? Is it best for them to call? Like, what's the easiest way for somebody to get in touch and find the help that they need?
Yeah, either pathway is good. It kind of depends on, I think the urgency of what you're looking for. Our website is just cicoa.org. And on there, you can see our whole list of the services we offer, the resources available, and just kind of general information about what's out there and how we can help. And then we also have a phone number that you can call, which is on the website, and that gets connected to what we call our Aging and Disability Resource Center. and anybody can contact us. You don't need a referral from a doctor or anything like that. If all you're looking for is just you're curious about what's out there and looking for information, you can call for that. Like I said, we're kind of a one-stop shop, so we see and hear it all, and we're here to help you navigate the whole journey through this.
Wow. We did talk about with Todd a little bit about case management and how a person might be coming to SACOA with particular needs or a particular set of issues that maybe there's something that you can solve. It's a short-term fix, and maybe there's something where it's more of a long-term need. Can you talk a little bit about that case management process? And I believe I read on your website that you create care plans for individuals. Can you kind of go into the details of those?
Yeah, so our largest area is actually our care management department, and I think we are up to around 12,000 care managed clients here in Central Indiana and growing. And that basically entails what you kind of described. So those who are eligible for care management will be assigned a care manager, and that care manager develops an individualized person-centered care plan for the individual. And so we take into account what that person's goals are for their care, for their quality of life. And so within that care plan, it can basically encompass anything, again, that helps support them in their home setting and keeps them in optimal health and independence for as long as possible, as opposed to a nursing home placement. And so we coordinate home health care based on the needs. Care plan might include transportation, home delivered meals, caregiver support and resources, just whatever the individual needs are. We help to develop that care plan, and then that care plan is reevaluated on a biannual basis. But our care managers meet with clients at least once a month.
That's amazing. And then a theme from the past couple episodes that we've been doing of this series, a theme has definitely been making sure that the caregivers themselves are taking care of themselves, not just the people they're providing care for. I wondered if you had, or if you could talk on some tips and tricks for how the caregiver can take care of themselves, and if there's any resources specifically for them, support groups or anything like that your services provide.
Yeah, of course. And it's going to sound kind of plain, but I mean, I think my first suggestion for caregivers is to take care of yourself. That seems kind of common sense, but when you're in the mix of it, sometimes it's easy to lose track of yourself.
Definitely.
But when we talk about this, an individual that you're caring for is only as good as you and your ability to care for them. So if you go down, they're going to go down with you. So it's pivotal to take time for yourself and to seek out the resources, and ideally explore what all is out there before you feel like you desperately need it, so that when you begin to identify some stressors or some other issues, you know where to go and what's out there, and be proactive about it. But SACOA has its own department called Care Aware, which focuses exclusively on caregiver resources and support. We work with caregivers in a variety of ways. We have a number of programs, and again, the programs are pretty extensive because caregiving and what caregivers need is not a one-size-fit-all type of thing. So we want to make sure that we have an array of options for caregivers based on their individual needs and support. We can help them identify resources, provide, connect them to resources in the community for support or just education. Just the imperative nature of caregiving. I like to throw this statistic out there. It's more than just this concept of stress. It actually it's almost a disease itself. And I say that because numerous research studies have demonstrated that, particularly for people caring with dementia, the stress level on that individual is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes a day. So there's actually a physiological impact that the stresses of caregiving have We see that, research showing much higher cortisol levels, lower immune system responses, a number of things directly associated with caregiving. So again, the first priority is to take care of yourself and make sure that you're going to be there and in good shape for your loved one.
Wow, that statistic is striking.
Yeah. What I find interesting about it too is multiple institutions have done the research, and all of them come to the same conclusion of 10 cigarettes. So
wow.
consistent. I don't know how they measure that, but it's been consistent.
Wow, that's shocking. Dustin, you talked a lot about the array of services that you provide. I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there of varying income levels. Can you talk a little bit about accessing those particular services? Can you access them through Medicaid, through private pay? You don't have to get into the weeds, but just like a general overview of who can access your services.
Yeah, and really the short answer is anybody. There is a little bit of misunderstanding sometimes about area agencies that you can only access us if you are low income and in poor health, and that's just not true. It's a very complex world. There's multiple funding sources for various services based on just the profile of the individual. So Medicaid is one funding source. I know Todd mentioned the Choice program is another area, but there's public funds called Older Americans Act, Title III funding, and private pay and all kinds of options. And so what we encourage people to do, it's such a complex world to navigate, but that's what area agencies on aging and SACOA is experts at, is just connect with us, tell us your story, and let us sort out everything so that we can identify what are the best options for you and the payer sources to receive those services. But the only thing for the most part that has income considerations is care management. And so to qualify for that, you have to have eligibility for what's called the Medicaid waiver. And so generally, the income and asset level is equivalent to what would qualify for Medicaid. Medicaid waiver, I like to think of it as you're waiving nursing home placement in exchange for resources in your home setting. So there is an income component to that, as well as being deficient in 3 or more activities of daily living. So, bathing, cooking, etc. But the other stuff, there's many things, if you need transportation, we can give you transportation. There's plenty of people with a lot of resources who just don't feel comfortable driving, but they still need to get to the doctor. They still need to get to the grocery. So that's one of the bigger things for us, is to make awareness that you don't have to be essentially in poverty to receive services. In fact, we like to be proactive and keep people out of poverty because of healthcare spending, get people connected as early as possible so that we can help prevent some of those issues down the road.
Definitely.
That's really important to highlight.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thanks, Dustin. We appreciate all this wealth of information, and I feel like I've been taking mental notes, and I need to follow up with you on several things.
Sure,
so I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're almost out of time. I wanted to thank you, Dustin. I don't know if there's anything you just want our audience to know before you sign off. The floor is yours.
Sure. There's a lot of help out there, and there are a lot of resources out there. And the best way to identify those is through contacting SACOA here locally in Central Indiana, or like I know Todd mentioned too, basically anywhere in the United States, wherever you live, there's going to be an area agency on aging in that area that people can reach out to, and just explore what's out there and get connected to it as early as possible. Don't wait till you feel like you need it, because sometimes by that time, it makes things a little more challenging to navigate. But we're here on average, to give you an example of impact. Our care managed clients who otherwise have a level of care that would be eligible for nursing home placement, through SACOA intervention, we're able to help them remain in their home and independent for over 3 years. So that's 3 years that instead of being in a nursing home, they continue to be in their community where they want to be in optimal health. So it's a very complex world out there, and I just encourage to let us help you navigate it.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out. And I think you highlighted being proactive is the best plan. So I thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. This was some really amazing information. I certainly learned a lot. And I think with that, we're going to bring Tom, our volunteer, back on, and he's going to close us out.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Hey, Tom.
Okay. Thank you, Emily and Addison, for this opportunity to share this critical information with our caregiving audience. I want to give an extra special thanks to Todd and Dustin for taking time out of their schedules to be with us and share their expertise. We need to give them a hand. If you enjoyed today's program, please share it with your friends and followers to help pass along this great information. Additionally, join us here next Friday, November the 18th at 10 a.m. to learn about Adult Day Center and the important role they play in caregiving field. You can learn more about this event and others at aarp.org/in. Thank you. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
everyone.
Tom.
Bye-bye.
All right.